Good morning, students. Today we will read the sixth chapter of your book Beehive. The name of the chapter is My Childhood. It is written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Dear students, this lesson is an extract taken from Wings of Fire. Wings of Fire is Abdul Kalam's autobiography, and this lesson is an extract that is taken from Wings of Fire. APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century. He was an Indian aerospace scientist and politician who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu on 15 October 1931 and died on 27 July 2015. He studied physics and aerospace engineering. He played an important role in India's Pokhran's second nuclear test in 1998. He is known as the Missile Man of India. Dear student, before starting the lesson, I am going to give a small introduction of the lesson. Abdul Kalam's biography is titled Wings of Fire, and the chapter My Childhood talks about his childhood. He was the President of India and a great scientist too. APJ talks about his upbringing, his parents and siblings. He tells us about his friends and all those things that influenced his life. So students, to know more about the lesson, more about APJ Abdul Kalam, let us start the lesson. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. Here I is APJ Abdul Kalam. He is saying that he was born into a middle-class Tamil family, and his place of birth Rameshwaram is an island town and it is in Bay of Bengal. The APJ Abdul Kalam has used the word erstwhile. It means that today we know this state as Tamil Nadu, but when he was born at that time, the state was known as Madras state. After that he says that my father, Jainuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He says that his father Jainuddin was not very rich. He did not have wealth. He did not have much wealth. He was not highly educated. But he says that despite all these disadvantages, he had some other qualities. And he was naturally very wise and generous. Innate means here the meaning is given inborn, a quality or feeling in one's nature. If a quality is in us naturally, that is innate. After that he says that he had an ideal helpmate in my mother Ashiyama. Ashiyama is the name of Abdul Kalam's mother. He says that his mother's name was Ashiyama and she used to help his father. She was a great sport for his father and she used to help him in his father's work. Then he says that I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. He says that his mother was very generous and kind-hearted. Every day she used to feed a lot of people, a number of people. She fed a great number of people from outside. Then the member of his own family, member of Abdul Kalam's family, she used to feed outsider needy persons also. She was so kind. Then he says that I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. He says that he had many siblings, and he describes himself in this passage. He says that he had short height and common look, and he did not have any exceptional looks. He had common look, and on the contrary, his parents were very tall and handsome. They were good looking. APJ did not inherit their parents his parents' physical qualities, because his parents were tall and handsome and he was short heighted. Then he says that we lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a very large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. He says that his ancestral house was very old. It was built in 19th century, and it was Pakka house which was made of bricks and limestone, and it is located on Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. After that, he tells us that about his father. He says that my austere father used to, austere means simple and strict. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. In this passage, he says that his father was very simple but strict. He wanted to live his life in a simple way, and he used to teach his children not to waste money on unnecessary things. He says that his father used to avoid any kind of inessential comfort and luxuries. He provided them all necessary things like food, clothes, and medicines, but he forbid them to use other luxurious things which are inessential. Then Abdul Kalam says that his parents fulfilled all his needs, whether it was related to any material or any emotion. Emotional here means affection. He also got affection and love from his parents. In this passage, he shows his gratitude towards his parents. He says that he is thankful to his parents for whatever they did for him. These are the words meaning, you can see them. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Here he tells that when he was 8 years old, then Second World War broke out in the year 1939. After that, he says that for reasons I have been able to understand, I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand of tamarind seeds erupted. Erupted means increased in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Here he says that during the wartime, the demand for tamarind seeds increased in the market. He used to collect and sell tamarind seeds to a provision shop located on Mosque Street. He would earn a sum of 1 anna, which equals 60 paise. When he addresses it as princely sums, he calls this 1 anna princely sums. Here it is irony, because 60 paise is a very less amount, but at that time, because it was war time, at that time uh, this was a lot of money for him. This 1 anna means a lot of money for him during that war time. After that, he says that my brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Dinamani is the name of the newspaper. So he says that his brother-in-law Jalaluddin used to tell him the stories of the ongoing war, and later Abdul Kalam used to read the newspaper Dinamani, and he used to look for the news of the same stories. Whatever the stories his brother-in-law used to tell him, he tried to search them in the newspaper Dinamani. After that, Abdul Kalam tells us that our area being isolated alone, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. He tells us that Rameshwaram was a small island town, so it was not affected by the World War II in the beginning. But after some time, India had to join World War and combined with Allied forces. Allied forces here means the armies of UK, USA, and Russia during the World War. So emergency was declared in the country. During emergency, what happened? The president's rule is implemented in the country, and it is like a curfew in the country. A lot of privileges which are given to people are withdrawn for them, and everywhere there is uh, president's rule. After that, he tells that here you can see, students, this is the map where you can see the Rameshwaram, and here Dhanushkodi. These are the stations where trains used to stop during war time. So Abdul Kalam says that the first casualty means loss came in form of suspension of train halt. Halt means stop at Rameshwar station. The newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So he says that the first impact on the people of Rameshwaram was that Rameshwaram was the cancellation of the train stoppage at Rameshwaram station. Earlier, the train which came from India used to stop at Rameshwaram and then went further to Dhanushkodi, but now the stop was cancelled and the train went straight to Dhanushkodi. Train went from India to Dhanushkodi without stopping at Rameshwar stoppage. And with this, the newspaper bundle which used to come for Rameshwaram was thrown out of the moving train as it reached Rameshwaram road. That forced my cousin Samsuddin. Samsuddin is the name of the cousin, his cousin. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot, Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Here Abdul Kalam tells that his cousin Samsuddin used to distribute the newspaper in Rameshwaram as the train stoppage was cancelled and the newspaper bundles were thrown out of the moving train. So he needed someone to help him and to catch those bundles. So APJ Abdul Kalam helped Samsuddin by catching the bundles and distributing the newspaper. In return, Samsuddin paid him salary, which was Abdul Kalam's first earning. After that, APJ Abdul Kalam tells us that half a century later, half a century means 50 years ago, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. He says that this incident happened 50 years ago. Even now, that is when he was writing the book, he could feel the satisfaction and proud of himself. He could feel satisfied and proud of himself. APJ Abdul Kalam says that whenever someone earns his own money with his hard work, then he feels it as the same way as he did, as he was feeling that even we also, if we earn the money with our own hard work and we get the money, we get the salary, then we feels satisfied and we feel proud. We feel satisfied, we feel proud. After that, he tells us that every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain way by figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father, and from my mother I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sisters. He sees that for a child, the figure of authority is his parents, and the next figure of authority can be his teacher. He is saying that whenever a child is born, he has some qualities which he acquires from his family, from his parents, brothers, sisters. These depend upon the social status of his family and the environment at home. From his father, he inherited honesty and self discipline, and from his mother, he inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. His siblings, his brothers and sisters, also inherited these qualities from his parents. I had three close friends in my childhood. In this passage, he is telling us about his friends. He is saying that he had three friends, Ramanand Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiv Prakashan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. Orthodox means strict. So, in this passage, he says that he had three friends, Ramanand Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiv Prakashan, and all these boys were from strict Hindu Brahmin family. Then he tells us that as children, none of us, children here means all these three friends, as children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves, and because of our religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramanand Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshman Shastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Arvindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. In this passage, Abdul Kalam says that he was from a Muslim family, and he says that during his childhood, all the children were so close, all the friends were so close to each other that they never felt they belonged to different religions. Religion was not a barrier in their friendship. There is Abdul Kalam's best friend Ramanand Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshman Shastri, the priest of the temple, which is the very famous temple in Rameshwaram. When these three friends grew up, Ramanand Shastri took the priesthood of Rameshwaram temple, and Arvindan started business of transporting the pilgrims to and from the Rameshwaram temple, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. During the annual Shri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of Lord from temple to the marriage site, and that was situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events near our house. So, in this passage, APJ Abdul Kalam says that whenever Shri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony used to take place in Rameshwaram, Abdul's family also took part in it. They used to arrange the boats for it. They used to make a special platform on the boats on which the statue of Rama and Sita were placed and transported from the temple to marriage site, which was in the middle of the pond named Ramatirtha. The pond was very near Abdul Kalam's house, and when he was growing up, he never thought that there was any difference between Hindu and Muslim, as they were participating in the Hindu festival wholeheartedly. So you know very well that Rama and Sita belonged to Hindu religion, and they were Muslim. Abdul Kalam and his family were Muslim, and but they did not feel any difference between Hindu and Muslim. Even from Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories at my bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. He says that they listen to stories from Ramayana and the life of Prophet from their mother and grandmother at bedtime. These stories were related to both gods, Hindu gods and Muslim gods. So they did not think any difference between both the gods. After that, he tells us about his school, one incident about his school. He says that one day when here is Abdul Kalam, in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sit in the front row next to Ramanand Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. He says that he belonged to a Muslim family and he used to wear a cap on his head that remarked that he was a Muslim. And his friend Ramanand Shastri, who was the son of the priest of Rameshwaram temple, belonged to a Hindu Brahmin family, and he used to wear a sacred thread that is worn by the Brahmins. When they were in class 5th, a new teacher came to their class. Abdul Kalam recalls this incident and he tells us what happened then. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy in accordance with our social ranking. As the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanand Shastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him here means Ramanand Shastri, weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. He says that that new teacher could not tolerate that a Hindu priest's son was sitting with a Muslim boy, so he told APJ Abdul Kalam to go and sit on the last bench as he belonged to a lower rank of the society. Both the children, means Ramanand Shastri and APJ Abdul Kalam, felt very bad. When Abdul changed his seat and sat on the last bench, Ramanand felt very bad. Abdul still remembers that image of his friends crying. It left a lifelong impression on his on Kalam. When he saw his friend weeping, then it left a lifelong impression on his heart. He cannot remember that incident. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshman Shastri summoned the teacher. Lakshman Shastri is the father of Ramanand Shastri. He summoned means called the teacher, and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly means straightforward, clearly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. So both the children, it means Ramanand Shastri and Abdul Kalam, went home and told their parents about the incident. Then Ramanand Shastri's father, Lakshman Shastri, called the new teacher and he told him that not to kill the children's friendship by putting the poison of discrimination of caste and religion into their innocent minds. Lakshman Shastri was very clear, very bluntly he said to the teacher, and he told the teacher that either ask sorry or leave the school and the island. It means leave the school and the Rameshwar island. After that, not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshman Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So Abdul Kalam says that the teacher asked sorry for that, the mistake that he had done, and he says that due to Lakshman Shastri, because of his counseling, because of his determination and thoughts, he reformed the young teacher. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation. Segregation means separation of different social groups. However, my science teacher, Shiv Subramanya Iyer, through an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle. Mingle means mix easily. And he used to spend hours with me. Me here is Abdul Kalam. He here is the science teacher. Me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. So, here Abdul Kalam says that the division of society into four groups, Brahmin, Kashyaps, Vaishyas and Shudras, was strictly followed by the society in Rameshwaram. Abdul Kalam's science teacher, whose name was Shiv Subramanya Iyer, uh, he was a religious person and he did not believe in distinction on basis of caste system. He worked very hard to break these social barriers, and he wanted that the people of different castes, different religions should interact, should mingle with each other, should interact with each other. And he encouraged Abdul Kalam to work hard so that he could be at the same level as the highly educated people who lived in big cities. And his wife was also conservative, very traditional, but he was breaking all these barriers. This teacher was so religious. After that, one day he invited me. He here is science teacher and me here is Abdul Kalam. He invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim wife being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. After that, Shiv Subramanya Iyer was not perturbed. Perturbed means feeling anxiety or concern, and nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. Here, APJ Abdul Kalam says that Subramanya Iyer's wife belonged to a traditional and orthodox Brahmin family. She followed the religions very strictly, and to keep the kitchen pure, no one from an inferior religion was allowed to enter in the kitchen. When the teacher invited Abdul Kalam for the dinner at his home, his wife feared that a boy from Muslim family would make her kitchen impure. She refuses to serve food in her kitchen. The teacher was neither upset nor angry. He himself served food to Abdul Kalam and he himself sat down beside him, near him to eat. His wife stood behind the kitchen door, and Abdul Kalam was thinking that whether she felt there was any difference in the way he was eating, he was drinking, and cleaning the floor after the meal. Abdul Kalam wants to highlight that religion does not matter, as it doesn't change the way in which the person eat, drink, or clean. So all are same. When I was leaving his house, Shiv Subramanya Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. Here Abdul Kalam says that when he was about to leave the teacher's home, his teacher invited him for dinner once again. When the teacher saw that Abdul Kalam was hesitant, he asked him not to be upset. He added that if he had decided to change the system against the norms of society, then he had to be strong and brave and he had to confront the situation. After that, When I visited his house the next week, Shiv Subramanya Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. Then Abdul Kalam says that when he visited his house the next week, the teacher's wife took him inside the kitchen, allowed him sit in the kitchen and served him food with her own hands. This is the change that happened with the efforts of the teacher and Abdul Kalam. Then after that, Abdul Kalam says that then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission. Unprecedented optimism. Here Abdul Kalam says that when the Second World War got over in the year 1945 and India was about to get freedom, which happened in 1947, Mahatma Gandhi, who is known the father of the nation, he played a very important role in the freedom struggle. In the struggle for freedom, he said that Indians would build their own India. The entire country was filled with hope and happiness. Everyone was experiencing such a feeling which they had never felt before. Everyone was happy, and now they thought that they would get their freedom. So everybody was happy. Everybody had hope in their minds, in their hearts. Then he says that I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramnathpuram. Here Abdul Kalam says that after getting the independence, after the war was over, after the war he asked his father for permission to go Ramnathpuram, which was the district headquarters for higher studies. In reply, his father says that he knew that he had to go away to grow, and he says that he could move ahead in life, and he gave the example of seagull which flies away in the sky alone and it does not have a nest. Then he says that his father quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children, they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Here, when his mother came to know that Abdul Kalam was about to leave home and wanted to go to Ramnathpuram for higher studies, he got upset. His father tried to calm her mother by telling him a few lines from a famous poem, Your Children. This poem was written by Khalil Gibran. He said that your children are not your children, they are the children of life. Because you cannot rule your children. They are the result of life's desire for itself. They have their own thoughts. He asked her to give them freedom to fulfill their thoughts. So, this is the lesson. And dear students, this lesson gives a beautiful theme. The main theme of this lesson is that our life is shaped by our experiences and people around us. Calm, secure childhood, inspiring parents, sportive friends, and honest teacher instilled great values in him that gave him wings of fire. So read the lesson again. Thank you.